And joining us now is former ambassador to the United Nations and former Trump National Security Advisor John Bolton. Ambassador, great to have you. An Israeli ground invasion with Lebanon would be a huge development. How likely do you think that is?
Well, I think it's highly likely. I think this is part of Iran's Ring of Fire strategy with Hamas in the Gaza Strip, with the Houthis closing the Red Sea from Yemen, Hezbollah, as you said, rocketing northern Israel for nearly a year, and the Shia militia groups in Iraq and Syria, along with Iran's own conventional military forces. This war has been going on for a year. Sometimes on one front, sometimes on other fronts, sometimes on several at the same time. So I don't think anybody should be surprised that Israel at some point would go after this massive threat that Hezbollah represents to their peace and security.
Do you think the U.S. can persuade Israel not to invade? Is Israel even listening to President Biden at this point?
Well, I hope not. Because I think the advice they've given has been all wrong. The principal enemy here is not Hezbollah, it's not Hamas, it's not the Houthis, it's not the Shia militia groups, it's Iran. And that's what the real threat to Israel is, and frankly, to the United States and much of the world, not just through the support of terrorism. And we've declared Iran to be a state sponsor of terrorism going back to Ronald Reagan. The other threat is its nuclear program. So in a way, Israel has been in a war that implicates them directly now, but could implicate us, could threaten our innocent people.
There are reports the Biden administration is working on a new ceasefire deal that would include both Hamas and Hezbollah. France, Lebanon, and several Arab countries are also reportedly involved. Netanyahu has greenlit the talks, but Iran is not involved in these talks. Is there any chance that this ceasefire deal may be struck?
Well, I don't see how it could possibly be put together. I mean, how many times have you and I talked about the administration claiming a ceasefire deal between Israel and Hamas is very near?
It's
Most
imminent.
of it's done.
About
It'll
to
happen any
happen.
minute.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So now, having failed to get one ceasefire with Hamas, they're trying to get a ceasefire with Hamas and Hezbollah. Really, it's just part of this unwillingness or inability to reckon what the main threat is. Certainly Hezbollah and Hamas are threats. The main threat is in Tehran.
French President Macron spoke this afternoon at the UN General Assembly, warning Israel cannot expand its war into Lebanon, quote, without facing consequences. What exactly is he saying there?
Well, that's a very good question. Israel isn't expanding the war into Lebanon, except in self-defense. Hezbollah has been attacking, I think, since October the 8th of last year, the day after Hamas attacked out of Gaza. You know, part of the problem here goes back to UN Security Council Resolution 1701 that brought a ceasefire to the Israel war with Hezbollah back in 2006. I know I was at the Security Council negotiating that resolution, and it was repeatedly watered down by France in ways that made it impossible to achieve the principal objective of that ceasefire, which was to prevent Hezbollah being resupplied with weapons from the outside. So I think it ill becomes the French to tell us what to do next in Lebanon.
Israel has been pounding Hezbollah targets now for more than a week, leading to the heaviest bombardment and the highest casualties in decades. It is clear after the pager attacks, the exploding walkie-talkies, the targeted assassinations of Hezbollah high-ranking leaders, that the IDF has dealt a blow to Hezbollah. But how big a blow, especially if they're lobbing missiles to Tel Aviv today?
Well, as you said earlier, by public estimates, we think that Hezbollah has about 150,000 missiles. Rough estimates of what they've fired so far are maybe 10,000 of those missiles, the low-end, not precision-guided missiles, into northern Israel. But within the past 24 hours, they fired a ballistic missile at Tel Aviv. And if you're Israel, you take that seriously, especially since the risk is not merely Hezbollah's conventional missile capability, but perhaps that Iran does have a nuclear weapon, and perhaps it's on top of a Hezbollah rocket.
Thanks so much for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.